Hello, and welcome to our webinar today. We're going to learn about Shiloh New London and how they have developed their online streaming. A very interesting story. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. There's a chat you'll find on the right-hand side. If you in the chat can enter in, and participants too, your name and where you are from, so we can know that everything is working.
All right.
And know who's all here. Okay, just enter that there in the chat for us. We'd appreciate that. We did a survey before doing this webinar because we wanted to connect with as many people as needs as possible. And there was 3 outcomes. Some churches are concerned that they're not big enough to do an online ministry, and we'll address that. Some are concerned they don't have the staff to do it, and some are afraid they don't have the technical knowledge. So by the end of this webinar, we want to have those 3 questions answered for you and help you have the right comfort level for the potential that the online ministry has for your church. We're glad to have Phil, Roger, Nigel, Mickey, Kristen, with us today. Kyle and David are with us as presenters, and Solomon, our very special guest from Shiloh New London. A little bit about phone live streaming's history. Back on March 12th last year, my son David, that you see here, was visiting with me and stayed up to 2 a.m. and wrote the first version of phone live streaming. His goal was to help his rural church be able to connect with the elderly that were not on the internet. The next day, we posted about this new tool in Facebook. A mega church minister in Virginia got a hold of it, liked it, and started tweeting about it, and the rest is history. All across the United States and Canada today, churches are using phone live streaming not only to reach their elderly, they're reaching the poor who cannot afford to be on the internet. They're reaching people through translation that don't speak English by providing special lines for other languages in their churches. They're reaching the people who are in the rural America who don't have a very good internet connection, and they're reaching their saints who are traveling, all from this one tool that we created for the elderly. Needless to say, the usability of being able to stream across the phone audio to your saints who don't have the internet was very strategic during the pandemic. And a number of companies that do video streaming have reached out to us for possible partnerships. Among those, the best that we found, and the simplest and the most powerful, is Boxcast. Everybody needs to know about Boxcast and how usable it is. So working with phone line streaming and Boxcast, when your saints go, or excuse me, your saints or staff goes to turn on the video to go live, they just push one button. One button does it all. And that's what makes the tool so powerful. Doesn't take a lot of training. Okay, so Kyle will be our host today from Boxcast. Stick with us to the end, and we will provide you with a kit, so a list of things that you need to start with streaming in good, affordable equipment to purchase to make that happen and happen right. We will also offer you and let you know how you can get a free trial of Boxcast. If you're a current phone line streaming customer or become a phone line streaming customer and sign up for Boxcast, we're going to give you a $20 credit on your phone line streaming account. All those details, how to get all that, will be at the end of this webinar. Kyle, thanks for joining us today, and the webinar is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, Hugh, and David. It's a pleasure to work with phone live streaming. And obviously, Solomon, thank you for joining us as well. Really excited for everybody here to kind of just to get a little taste of you and your background. Before we do that, I'm going to share some slides here just to do some housekeeping things, let you know about how the webinar is going to go. before we hop into the meat potatoes, which is obviously Solomon's interview and his experience with Boxcast and phone live streaming. And so what you will learn if you stay to the end, how a small church, less than 100 members, can live stream successfully. We will give you the technical know-how, everything that you need to know about how to live stream, and show you how to use the staff and volunteers that you already have to live stream as well. And then bonus, like Hugh said, at the end, we are going to give you guys a piece-by-piece starter kit list for live streaming. So stay tuned into the end and feel free to follow along using the worksheet in the Fun Live Streaming Hugh and David have provided for us. The agenda. So I know some of you guys might be coming in blind here, so I just want to do a quick overview of Boxcast. Then we'll go into Solomon's interview, just hear a little bit more from him about his experience. Just chat a little bit about how phone live streaming and Boxcast could work together, the easiest way to get started. And all along the way, we'll have the opportunity to ask questions and the next steps at the end. So don't be shy. Feel free to ask questions in the chat box if you have a question at any time, whether it's something that Solomon said, you want him to dig deeper on something that I said. We can try our best to answer those chats in real time. We can also wait to the end to answer those questions as well. So feel free to chat in. We would love to hear from you. So a little bit about Boxcast. We're founded by believers in 2013. Really, the heartbeat of what our company does is serving the local church. We just know that something like live streaming can be historically really hard to do, or that it just doesn't. Like Hugh mentioned, people don't feel like that they have the staff or volunteers, that it's not as easy as they think. And so we've tried to really make streaming easy. We sell software and hardware for live streaming. We have 7,000 customers around the world. And phone live streaming and Boxcast, just in a statement of alignment, we both have a commitment to excellent service for our customers, providing value for those that know they need more but don't have the resources to make it happen. And so just a little bit about Boxcast and how it works. We have this little thing called our Boxcaster. That's why we're called Boxcast. It's a little box, plugs in with any video camera, plugs in with the HDMI cable there, an Ethernet cable. There's 3 green lights that tell you have a good camera connection, internet connection when you're streaming. You don't have to use this box. It is, to answer your question, Phil, it does work in a portable church situation. We have tons of mobile churches that use this, that set up and tear down every week. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that a lot of people who are using their computers to stream are lugging a big beefed up computer around and learning how to use extensive software. Boxcast, it's plug and play, automated streaming. This box is the size of your cell phone, and it kind of is the magic sauce. But we can work with any other streaming software you might already have. And so that's why we're called Boxcast, is because that little box. How does it work? You can plug your video camera into this box. The box does not even connect to a computer. It connects right into the internet with a hardline connection or to Wi-Fi. And from there, you can stream to multiple destinations. So you can stream to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, your website. And then you can also stream to phone live streaming, right? Knowing that you can get people calling in, listening to your service. You can also stream to phone live streaming as a destination and to all of the other destinations at the same time. It does work if you do not have an Ethernet cable. It can connect to Wi-Fi. It's obviously always recommended in a live stream, just for the sake of reliability, that it's preferable that you have a hard line, but it does work with Wi-Fi. So great question, Nigel. From there, like I said, you can stream to many places at once. Many places, we call that simulcasting. One of the beautiful parts there is just one stream up, one button, like Hugh said, streaming to multiple destinations: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Boxcast website, phone live streaming, any mobile app you have, any smart TV app, we can create them for you. The beauty really is in the simplicity and the ability to stream to multiple places. And that's kind of what Boxcast has done, is we know that multiple people watch on different places, and we want to reach different people when life keeps them away, regardless of who they are or where they want to watch. And so that's a little bit of an overview of Boxcast. I wanted to introduce us now to Solomon. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about him. He is tech director of Shiloh New London, church of about 500 members for several years. He manages the church live streams, social media, and all other aspects of their virtual ministry using his expertise in the right online systems. He has been able to help his ministry, reach their goal of connecting with an isolated population and elevate their viewership substantially over the last 15 months. And so without further ado, I am actually going to, I believe, stop sharing my screen here so that we can see a little bit more of Solomon before we hop into the questions. All right, Solomon, there you are. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us again. I know everybody's really excited to hear from you. So we're just going to hop right in. I think I'd love to hear just a little bit more about your background and your story.
Okay. So like you mentioned, I'm the tech director for Shiloh New London. I've been here for several years. When I was first hired here, I was tasked to primarily develop in-house media for our in-person members. That's CDs, DVDs, and gasp tape, cassette tape.
Yeah.
And that would be delivered by our hospitality team to our sick and shut-in members, or also via mail. We did a stream.
Solomon, we lost your audio there. Are you back? You're silent now. We can't hear you. We can see now. Try. Nothing yet.
This is the part of the show where Larry comes out and sings a silly song.
Oh, man. Let's see if we can get him back up here. Of course, there's never any technical issues running anything technical. Everybody knows that, I'm sure. So,
is that right? So, okay. You're back. Try again.
We had him for a second there.
We did.
Oh, my goodness.
There you are. Up for a second.
I don't know what's going on. Okay.
There you go. You're back.
So, like I said, we were more focused on creating in-house media for our people here. We were streaming with Ustream, but it wasn't our main focus. It was more of a byproduct. We were creating stuff here, and we happened to be streaming. It was more of a smaller audience. People logged in when they weren't able to attend, but it wasn't something that we focused on. As the pandemic began to get a bit more serious, and we were unfortunately forced to close our doors to the public, we switched from having the stream as a more of a byproduct to maybe sort of our main focus, as we weren't able to have people here in house. We tried it with IBM Video, but what we didn't realize was with their pricing model, they assigned us viewer hours, which was okay for our smaller amount of viewers. But when our viewership tripled, so did the price. And so after picking our jaw up from the ground there, we knew we had to do something different. And that's how we found Boxcast.
Awesome. That's great. And I'm sure no other church is price conscious. So
yeah,
that lands great, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your role at the church. Just about your average day-to-day, your week-to-week.
Oh, boy.
What you're doing. I know I mentioned a couple of the things, but we'd love to hear about just what you do at the church now at Shiloh New London.
Well, I wear so many hats, and as with the pandemic and everything, it's constantly evolving. But I do the social media, the live streaming, and pretty much everything that makes up anything you can see virtually. So when you sermon graphics and your slides, the editing that comes with posting things on social media is easily between 35 and 40 hours a week. There's a lot to do here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess tell us a little bit more about your ministry, where you're located, the demographics that you have at the church.
So we're in New London, Connecticut, which is a, I guess, smaller but urban town or urban city. I would say we're a small to medium-sized church, about 500 people. Our primary demographic is maybe 40 and under, but we have a bit more of our seasoned members as well. And they're not quite as tech savvy. We ended up having a sort of a discussion once we made the transition from meeting in person to virtually, how we can sort of capture the more seasoned members where they were. A lot of them are not too savvy and trying to get to the computer or pulling up their phone. So we decided to do some research, and we ended up just looking to move toward technology that they're used to. Anyone can answer a phone, anyone can dial a phone, and that allowed our more seasoned members and pretty much everyone to still be a member of our community, even though they weren't physically able to be here or able to participate via our video platforms.
Great. And when did you start using Boxcast and Fun Live Stream? I know you mentioned you did some research on that. What was the driving factor and force behind that?
Oh, the cost! My gosh, the cost for me to stream was astronomical. You know, I got the bill. I'm like, oh my goodness. So maybe a month or two after the pandemic started to get a bit more serious, and we started meeting only virtually as our primary meeting source. We had to be able to capture everyone, but not pay out, you know, everywhere to get it done.
Definitely. That's great. And then, you know, you started streaming, and you've been streaming for a while. You know, it sounds like before using IBM Video, made that switch last June to Boxcast, got phone live streaming a couple months later. Who were you trying to reach? Was it just those affected by the pandemic, or was, you know, if you remember before you were trying to reach other people as well? Who really was the target person you were trying to reach?
Well, I mean, we were primarily trying to reach, you know, it sort of evolved. I mean, the initial problem was we wanted to reach, you know, the people within our four walls to try to make sure to maintain all those connections with our current members. But as we discovered how high quality of the video we were producing, we realized we were making contact with people all over the world. It wasn't limited to just, here's your physical CD, here's your physical DVD or tape or whatever. By pressing one button, we were able to reach everybody pretty much instantly. And that was something that we really enjoyed.
So have you noticed, I know you mentioned earlier that the seasoned attendees or members of your church. So you were trying to reach, you know, maybe members of an older demographic. Were you able to reach younger people as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, phone live streaming really helped with the older members, but also we didn't realize that by being able to use a phone, we were opening up to anyone, regardless of what platform they wanted to experience the service. A trucker made contact with us a few weeks ago and just shared how much he enjoyed experiencing our services. And it was all over the phone. He's able to just plug on in and just dial in without any distractions of the video. I got to send you guys the picture of him in his truck listening to the service every week faithfully. And so it's like he's one of the members here, even though he may not physically be here, he's participating wherever he is over the phone.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's so cool when you find those unexpected people, right? Like you start something for maybe this older generation, but you find this trucker who he's traveling all the time, right? Or maybe there's traveling businessmen that can't make it, mothers stuck at home with sick kids. There's, you know, have you noticed anything about the platforms you were streaming to? Maybe if you stream to YouTube and Facebook or your website, if there was different types of people watching in different places?
Well, I mean, the regular demographics, you know, follow you get the 40s on the Facebook, get a little younger on the YouTube, you have everyone on the website. It's a variety. But as the pandemic, you know, swelled and now decreasing, our reach has grown tremendously on all the platforms.
Awesome. Yeah. And then how has your experience been using both platforms, Boxcast and phone live streaming? Have they gone all together?
Seamless. I can press one button and everything just works. Prior to you guys, I had 3 different computers to stream the Facebook, YouTube, and the website. And I was always sort of biting my nails, coming in early and hoping and praying that everything just worked. You know, I felt like we were duct taping it all together to make the solution work. And now I just come in, press the one button, and it just goes. I don't have to worry about it.
So with one button, you stream to how many locations, or what is it?
Facebook, YouTube, our website, and also phone live streaming. So that's 4 locations.
Awesome. Just one click of a button, you're good to go on Sunday mornings.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's so funny because there's like a million things to do on Sunday mornings, and never enough people to make it happen as smoothly as you'd like, right? So having one less thing to worry about is probably a huge weight off your shoulders, and having 3 computers that as well. And Nigel, to answer your question, Boxcast does work with Zoom, so you can send a Zoom meeting to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, any of those destinations as well. The same way, even phone live streaming. Let's get a question from Hugh here. I'm sure you might want to answer this one, Solomon. When you went from IBM Video to Boxcast, how much did the video quality change or downgrade?
Oh, it was so IBM Video, for some reason, we only were able to stream in standard definition. I'm not sure why that was, but when we flicked over, we didn't do anything special. We just changed where we were streaming, and all of a sudden, high definition. I'm not sure what happened, but it just looked good. I changed nothing.
Great. And I guess another question here for you. What was the hardest part about working with Boxcast and phone live streaming, or both? Was that
I mean, the hardest part is getting used to it all just working. You know, I come in an hour early, you know, for service anyway, but now I can dedicate less to just making sure that everything is just so in its place. I just come in and focus on other things, you know, or just relax and just get ready for the service. Just, right. You know, I'm not running around trying to make sure everything is working.
Instead of your normal tech director panic that ensues on Sunday mornings, not just have to at least come when you're probably so used to just, you know, always something not working. So that's always
yes.
Here.
Never fail.
What was the most challenging part about getting started? Were there any surprises?
Well, we've been streaming all along. So it's just, as we grew and expanded, we learned from our mistakes and we grew from there. Surprises, not. Well, we came to Boxcast. We didn't realize there'd be a little bit of a delay. That's not something we were used to. But, you know, for the increase in video quality, it was great.
And that's good. That's good, too, for people to know as well, that there is a little bit of a latency, right? When you're sending to that many platforms at the same time in that high quality, you know, there's going to be a little bit of a delay, 30 to 60 seconds potentially from what you stream to your viewer sees, which is, you know, for the benefit of the video quality. And a lot of times they don't even notice, but you notice, right? So it is a good note for sure. What are the benefits that you've noticed using both platforms together? And what platforms do you recommend churches streaming to?
Well, I mean, I mentioned, I'm sure I've beaten dead horses. One button and everything just works. I like the Boxcast platform. I like phone live streaming because it just gives you not only the ability to stream out high quality video to all your social media platforms, it allows you to connect with people that don't have access to that over the phone with technology they're comfortable with at their convenience.
And what I know you mentioned the places that you're streaming to. Where do you recommend churches start, right, when it comes to streaming? What platforms do you think that they should stream to?
Well, you should go to where the people are. You know, it's easy to stream to Facebook, YouTube, and your website. You know, that's pretty much where people are going. It's people where they are. You want to go to where the people are, and it's easy to do it with you guys.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Is there a benefit you've noticed to streaming directly to your website in particular, just as far as the people that are watching there, maybe being different running?
Well, I mean, on our website, it's easier to focus the viewers on what you want them to see. Looking at your services on other platforms, you open yourself up to distractions. You know, there might be some catchy ad on the side there, or might be something along the bottom. You got to focus on just minimizing all distractions and keeping people engaged. And on your website, you pretty much control the.
It's funny you say that too, because we've noticed that when people do view on church websites live streams, they actually tend to watch longer. So Facebook, right? It's competing content. It's scrollable. It's a great place. It's almost like a great place to be discovered, right? People are scrolling through. They might see like a video of some cats, and then they might see your live stream, right? Which this could really impact their life and really give them a real meaningful experience. And so it's cool to hear you say that. Got a question from Phil here. Is Boxcast just for broadcast, or is there a virtual option where two-way communication can happen? So your question, Phil, Boxcast is a live streaming technology where there is another technology. It's more like video conferencing, right? Like Zoom, where it's going to be lower quality, lower latency, The purpose of that is direct communication between two people. Where Boxcast is a live streaming tool is really meant to reach the masses. Right? We have 1,000 people viewing a live stream, and for it to go off without a hitch, right? You think about some of the virtual communication stuff. Even Solomon today had trouble with his audio. That's pretty regular stuff that happens with video conferencing stuff when you try to pair them with live streaming. Not that it's bad, it's just different. And you can always chat on Facebook and YouTube as well. Great question. How has, next question here, how has Boxcast and Phone Live Streaming impacted your community? Do you have any interesting insights there about how it's affected you?
Well, it was amazing to see how many people were watching the stream, and the amount of people we were able to reach. We started this trying to reach mostly our in-house people, but once we started broadcasting high-quality video online, we realized there was a broader amount of people we could reach. And we see that as we grew. We started with Ustream. We had a small amount. With the Boxcast, we grew a bit more. During the pandemic, we grew more. And now, even as we sort of get on the edge of that pandemic, we're still growing because of the reach that we established. And also phone live streaming. All those together just expanded our reach to numbers we didn't even imagine.
Well, it's interesting, too, as you grow, right? I mean, you had a solution. It was cumbersome. It was overwhelming. You reached a limit with your viewers. You switched to Boxcast, gained more viewers, added phone live streaming. It became even more viewers. And so it's interesting to see every step of the way, your journey, you've been able to add more and more people and broaden that reach, which is just incredible, I think. Is there a specific story that you'd like to share? Maybe somebody who was just really impacted. I know you mentioned that trucker earlier. Is anybody that again, as a surprise that you were able to make contact with?
Well, with social media, we're able to connect with people all over the world. We got another message from someone in Ohio who was able to participate virtually as well. She gets it faithfully, just like the trucker, and is a member of our church virtually that will probably never be here, same with the trucker. But she participates virtually with everything. You think she actually went here in person. And that's possible via the internet and our platforms here. Yeah. It's great to see our reach expand from just our local area in Connecticut to across the nation in Ohio. She's a member. She's not here. It's great.
Yeah. And that's amazing too, right? Like you said, the church is not just our four walls, right? There's somebody that feels so connected to your ministry, your pastor, your community, from Ohio, even though you're in Connecticut. But the church is not just our four walls anymore, right? It really is so much bigger than that. And you guys in your virtual ministry have this amazing story to tell how you're impacting somebody's life, even in Ohio. So I think that's incredibly powerful. Moving into some more technical stuff, can you tell us a little about your video setup? What does it look like? And we see you're in an awesome production room, lots of clocks.
Yeah, we're a bit more extreme here. I mean, our pastor and administration wants to make sure that we are able to produce a quality product that will compete not only with other churches, but with everything else that people experience online. We got Netflix, YouTube, your cat videos, everything that can distract you online will. You no longer have that captive audience here in the service, sitting here. You have to make sure your product is of good quality enough for people not to get distracted and to really focus on the message you're presenting.
Yeah, it's a good thought, and just knowing that, the quality of what we produce too is important, knowing that, people are used to watching high level produced stuff. And so it's interesting that your pastor made that a priority. But another question, I know it sounds like you guys have multiple cameras, maybe a video switcher. Do you think the church needs to start there? Or do you think, where do you think?
Well, we grew, we started with one camera, and as we, continued to make mistakes and develop, we expanded it, got multiple cameras. Now we have a whole black magic setup. We're pretty extreme now. We got 5 PTZ cameras, a few wireless roving cameras, a couple of lock-off cameras that hooks up to a video switcher, and we're able to live mix everything for our stream to go out. It just makes editing easy.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Just knowing that churches can start small. We always tell people, the best.
Definitely. I mean, that's your job as a church. You start one, as you reach one person with your one camera, you're doing it. as you continue to grow, you're going to get better, and you can produce a better quality product.
Well, it's like any other aspects of our ministry, right? Where it's like, hey, you don't go from zero to mega church, right? You start and you grow slow, like any other aspect of ministry. So it's good to hear that even somebody like Shiloh New London with 5 cameras didn't start that way, right? You grew into it. I think that's important for a lot of people to hear. I don't want to again beat a dead horse with this, but I just wanted to know for everybody else here in the churches listening in, all the attendees, how much time do you spend on average week preparing your live stream and phone, with phone live streaming? What other things do you do during the week to prepare? Maybe it's not just live streaming.
Social media is where people are right now. Church should be relevant more over your Sunday or midweek services. You want to go to where people are on social media. So, and doing that, you have to make sure you present pieces that are digestible on those certain platforms. So not everyone on social media wants to sit through a whole sermon. So what I do, I'll go through the sermon and find the relevant portions of it, 30 seconds to a minute tops, and pop it up there on our social media. And that does very well. You put a nice graphic up with the dynamic picture, that does well too. Things that people can connect to, not necessarily a sermon, but other things that people can react to will keep people engaged throughout the week. And then they'll come on back for your service, if they desire to. So it sounds like most of what you do during the week is not have to worry about setting up or preparing the live stream, but really how you use that content then throughout the rest of the week. Exactly. That's one less thing I gotta worry about. It's so much. You have no idea.
Yeah, and I like the idea of taking the most powerful part of your message and being able to share it on social media. Our attention spans are so short these days. It's cool to be able to cut that. Boxcast is a highlight clip feature too. You can cut those clips out and just download them and share those even on Facebook or YouTube. So it's cool that you're able to use that feature and potentially, or maybe in your own editing software. I'm not sure what you do for it, but that is a great note for people as well, just to know that that's a great way to get people excited throughout the week. Now, next question is: do you think not just your ministry, but the church, the local church in general, across the world, the nation, do you see that live streaming is something that they're going to be doing indefinitely moving forward, or is this going to be something that is a fad? How do you see live streaming in general? And
that's interesting. We're starting to transition back into in-person services, but before we did that, we put out a survey to our people that were in our area and experienced our ministry as to how they felt about returning to service. Some people were happy to come on back and said, yeah, I'll be there. But there were some people that answered that survey saying that they were more comfortable at their house or experiencing our service wherever they were, and they will not be coming back. So if we were to not stream anymore, we lose all those people. And that's not something we want to do at this time. I'm sure it's going to be somewhere with all the churches around here.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost think about it as like a church website. It wasn't unthinkable 10, 15 years ago to not have a church website. Now I think it's getting to the point where I think a lot of churches are streaming. Just they know that it's a need, and it's kind of come that way, right? Where streaming is important, whether it's through phone live streaming or a Boxcast or any other thing. It seems like it's not going away, at least for now. So. What is just a few more questions here. What is your advice to someone who is looking into live streaming, either Boxcast or otherwise, for the first time? What are some key things that you've learned doing this?
Just do it. If you're on the fence, get your feet wet and do it. Once you decide to make that jump, and you should, let's see. I think we had issues with our audio. Now. After experiencing some not so good audio, we hook up directly to our board, and we send our audio from our board right to our mixer. And then if you do that, make sure to include a audience mic, because you want to make sure that everyone is included in your service. If it's a dead room because your mic isn't picking up the reaction of your audience, that sends a different message.
Definitely. A pastor tells a joke and nobody laughs. It's
right. Exactly.
Right. But that's a great point, right? That audio is half of what people are consuming during watching, during a live stream. So making sure that the audio is good, that's definitely something that we've noticed at Boxcast. A lot of churches don't put the priority on, so it's good that you guys have done that. what makes you most excited looking into the future about Boxcast and phone live streaming, using those together, or just streaming in general? Yeah.
I mean, we've expanded so much. It's almost overwhelming. We have now a worldwide reach. I can see, people connect from Italy. I saw last week. I'm like, wow, I had no idea that we would be able to reach bears outside of this local community when we first started this, and I'm just excited to see where it goes going forward.
That's awesome. And is there anything like you'd like to add that we didn't ask you, or anything that you would like to, that you'd like to include?
Well, I mean, I'm just pleased with Boxcast and phone live streaming. It's nice not to have to worry about scrambling and making sure that everything is working. We had an instance with Ustream that we were in the middle of service and it just died without any warning, and we couldn't get it back. I'm not sure what happened. They don't know what happened, but you can imagine how stressful that was for me. With Boxcast, I haven't had a single issue, and it's nice just to be able to click a button and it works. I can look at it, not worry about it. I can focus on other aspects of the ministry.
It is pretty wild too. We've noticed and done some research and found that if a stream crashes or dies, after 3 seconds, you lose 50% of your viewers, right? And so they're going to move on. They're going to think something happened. So having something reliable is huge. By the way, we did get a question from Nigel in the chat here. How do you set up a mic for your audience? What does that look like for you?
So we have a couple of shotgun microphones facing the audience, and it's mixed separately. So what people mistakenly do sometimes is hook up a duplicate audio signal from their house to their live stream, and you want to get away from doing that if you can, and send your live stream to an auxiliary mix, because what sounds good in your auditorium or in your sanctuary may not sound good on the stream. Maybe that praise team member is a little too loud. Maybe you got too much guitar or strings.
Yeah.
If you can, dedicate a different mix to your live stream for best results.
Gotcha. That's huge. Yeah. Different mix, a couple shotgun mics. People get that audio because they're obviously a part of the experience too. So that's huge. Did that answer your question, Nigel? Anything else we can add there for you? All right. He's good. So 3 last questions here. We're going rapid fire. I know these are the 3 big ones we promised we would answer before before we ended here. Solomon, what would you say to someone who says their church just isn't big enough?
That's not true. I mean, what's that verse in Matthew? Matthew 28. Go to all the world, making disciples. That's your job as a church. You are big enough. You got one camera. Press that button and get going. You can do it.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other part of Matthew, right? Sowing the seed, right? Getting seed on many different soils. There's a thorny soil. There's the, it's our job, to go out and spread on multiple different soils, regardless if they're ready to hear it or not, right? So, next question: what would you say to a church that feels like they have a lack of technical know-how?
Well, you don't have to. You press the button with Boxcast and this does it. It's all that extra work that I was doing years ago with the computers is no more. I can come in and press the button, turn the camera on, and we're good to go.
Yeah, awesome. And then what would you say if a church said they just didn't have the staff to do this?
You don't need it. Like I said, you can come in, turn on the computer, press a button. You can do it.
Yeah.
So you're saying I have to have fingers to operate this,
you have
right?
to have fingers.
That's my one requirement, right? I have to have, right? Okay.
Well,
Just,
well,
in case somebody's missing fingers,
Right.
You have to have fingers. Okay.
One requirement: have fingers. Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, Solomon. It's been a pleasure. What we're going to do here is just as we hop back into the slides and we wrap this up, just want to see if anybody else had questions regarding what Solomon said, anything about Boxcast that we can still help with before we move into the final section here. Nigel said, do you need to have a technical team? So, Solomon, I don't know if you want to take a first stab at that. Do you feel you need to have a technical team with Boxcast?
Well, it's nice to have extra hands. It's great, but you don't need to. Like if you're just getting started, like I said, just set up the camera and hit the button and go. And
yeah,
as you grow and develop, people will gravitate toward you, and you can assign different things to your tech team to enhance your broadcast. But no, you don't need one to get started. You can do it.
And I in a previous conversation, something that you mentioned, Solomon, which I think was so great, is just if you get started, and maybe you don't have a technical team too, if you have even if you reach one person, right, better than you were doing before. I think that's what you said.
Yes, that is. Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was just a really powerful thing, just that you're doing even better, reaching the one person, even if it's just a one camera setup, or if you're using your iPhone, whatever it is, you're doing better than you were before, right? So I think that's huge. Good question, Nigel. Any other questions? All righty. And feel free to, between now and by the time we wrap up here, just a few more minutes, if you have any other questions for myself and Solomon, to ask those in the chat still. Just to wrap it up here, bonus, the easiest way to get started, we are going to be emailing you all here post webinar, obviously a link to this webinar, this recording. We're going to be sending you a link to the beginner's live streaming kit, Boxcast, the website. It's kit.co/Boxcast. That will all be provided for you. All of the Boxcast, the Boxcaster, the tripod, the cabling, the camera, the little soundboard, everything that you need, that will be emailed out to you. You will be getting that following this webinar. And Nigel, another question here: does Boxcast allow you to stream pre-recorded content? It does. So we do have the ability to upload a recording and then have that air as if it was live or simulated live, so that way you can reproduce that broadcast and still send that stream out. Absolutely. Great question. After that, if you guys want to learn more, feel free to reach out to Boxcast, our sort of free trial. I believe Hugh has put a little button in the top right-hand corner. It says "Get Access Now." Do you want to explain a little bit about what they get with that, what they're getting here, Hugh?
It's a 14-day free trial. So if you don't believe it's simple to use, sign up for that trial and see how simple that is to use. It's 14 days free. If you are a phone live streaming customer and you do sign up for Boxcast, we will automatically, at about a month afterwards, give you a $20 credit on your phone live streaming account. So free money, free trial, simple to use. Give it a try.
Yeah, and the great thing about the trial too is that there's no credit card required. You can go give it a shot. We have an app you can download. You can use any other streaming device you might already have. Our streaming coaches can help you guys get started and answer any questions you have. Make sure that you're streaming well. So I definitely recommend doing that and reaching out to Boxcast if you want to, letting us know that phone live streaming sent your way. We'd love to continue the conversation. And then lastly, just any other questions? I just want to make sure that everybody's questions are answered before we end our time together. Gotta embrace the awkward pauses just to make sure. I know Nigel's in the question machine over there. I just want to make sure he's good. All right.
If you have to talk to your staff or something before you sign up, do look for the email, because the link to that same 14-day free trial offer will be in the email.
Perfect. Yes. Make sure you guys use that link that Phone Live Streaming sent to get that extra $20 off and using their link set up for the trial. But it's been a pleasure getting to chat with you, Solomon, David, Hugh. Thanks for having Boxcast on. Just really excited for the future and hope that you guys all get started on the trial, and we'll be emailing out that streaming kit. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.